All right, folks, we're in the operating room today, aka Steve's garage. That's why we look like surgeons. We are working on the drag car once again, as you see that we've started on. We're basically completely revamping, reinventing this thing. One of the things that we mentioned to you, which I haven't shown you yet, is the gear fender, which is basically like a secondary. It's an overdrive for the transmission, so that's what his transmission looks like now. This thing is like 4.5 feet long. So that's pretty cool. So basically, this down here is a 3-speed transmission. It's terrible for driving on the highway or just cruising. It's only like race oriented. So this basically gives him double the gear ratios and overdrive, so he can be able to cruise with it, and you get a little bit higher mile per hour and things like that. So with that,
turns a 3-speed into a 6-speed.
Yeah, it turns a 3-speed into a 6-speed essentially. What we're doing today is we're going to be pulling off the fenders and bumper because we want to clean up all this tubing and wiring. We want to make this engine bay look good, and you know, it's just one of those things on the to-do list that we're finally getting around to doing. The other thing is, I don't know, I'll mention it when it comes up. We want to put this.
And that was at like 1 o'clock when we were supposed to be at 10.
Alright, so we got the car all stripped down. As you can see, we've got the fenders off, and we're going to start to reroute some of these extra wires and things. And the other thing I forgot to mention earlier that we're going to do is we're going to be ripping out the K-member, and we're going to be putting in a tubular drag racing K-member with two tubular arms. So if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you remember I did a Myth Busted episode about weight savings that you can get from a K-member, but I used the Maximum Motorsports K-member, and I think the total weight savings on my setup was about 5 pounds. So we're going to actually check out the difference on this setup and actually compare it to the last video, because we do have the manual steering rack in here. We're going to see how much weight you can actually save converting to a full drag racing setup. Manual power steering rack, tubular A-arms, all of that stuff. So it'll be interesting when that comes up. Alright folks, so it's been a blink of an eye for you, but for us it's been 2 days. So this is the end of day 2. Still looks a little bit cluttered in here, but I mean, you guys saw what it used to look like. Pretty much these wires that are hanging down in the middle all go directly to the engine. The entire rat's nest that was over there is pretty much gone. Things are still loose right now because we just don't want to tighten everything down 100%, because obviously we don't have an engine right now in the car. Fuel lines are still going to have to get trimmed and relocated because there was some excess there, but all in all, when we put this thing back together, it's going to be much cleaner. So yep, that's pretty much it for that.
The rat nest is gone.
It's homeless rats now. Actually, before we sign off for this video, I just want to mention, since this is mostly a DIY channel, basically what we did in order to make this wire tuck happen is we've routed everything around the outside of the fenders. We just basically went one system at a time, and we ran everything outside the fenders. So you can kind of see some wires here. You know, a lot of this needs to get buttoned up here. The headlight harness, there's this long solid cluster that goes here. We pushed that out through the headlights. That's currently resides on the floor, but all of this is going to go behind the fenders. So it is a little bit messy back here. We left wires long on purpose. We can come back and trim some of this stuff. And again, all of this stuff is hanging down right now. But we're going to tighten this stuff back up, and it's all going to be nice and clean. Nothing's going to interfere with any wheels or suspension or anything like that. So that's the word. Next video, we're going to be removing the K-member, and we're going to do our Myth Busted series and figure out how much weight you can actually save with the tubular K-member.